Hi everyone, good evening. This is immigration attorney John Q. Khosravi of the JQK Immigration Law Firm, joining you from Los Angeles, California, and ready to do our regular Monday through Friday, weekday, 5 p.m. Pacific Q&A to discuss immigration law and topics related to immigration and just U.S. immigration practice, to the general aspects that we could talk about here without having individual consultation and reviewing your documents individually, just general educational stuff so the group could hear what kind of stuff is going on. There's a lot of false rumors, things that aren't true that get spoken about, so we're going to talk about it here just to give a better idea of what's going on, because U.S. immigration can get pretty complicated. So I'm going to do my best to help as people start trickling in. Feel free to throw out your questions, and if we can answer, we'll go through those. This is being recorded. It will be repeated on the YouTube page for JQK Law Firm. You can check it out there, but you can also check clips of it and other stuff on my various social media channels as well. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's anything you can think of. I stopped doing Twitter because I'm not much of a Twitter person. But if you're interested in that, those, just go to JQK Law Firm. My handle is for those. And if you're interested in TikTok and using TikTok, which is one of the main avenues for asking questions, the handle is Immigration Lawyer John. John is John, and just feel free to click on my profile button on top to follow on that, and subscribe on other channels as well, because again, each social media I kind of put different kinds of information. For example, on the social media page for Instagram, I'll put examples of my approval notices, which will have timelines and the type of case I had, so it'll give you some idea what's going on, because I've seen timelines are pretty much the most important question people have. The problem is I can't really give you information about timelines because one is I don't know your individual case, and secondly, they vary wildly, so it's very hard to guesstimate or estimate unless I sit down, talk with you, and explain the different aspects of it, which would be a long time, and it wouldn't matter because the government does what the government wants to do, especially right now with the coronavirus being there, causing things to take much longer than usual. So let's jump into it. Feel free to throw out your questions as the group is getting together. Burham, Mambo, Sim, Brittany, y'all, thank you for joining and coming to listen. I just had a call with a client. It was not a nice and happy call. He's worried of what's going to happen. Is my fiance going to be able to come to the United States? Should we just give up on the case? And I say, you know what? We don't know the future. So if you have a fiance and you're in love and you want someone to come, then you got to do it. It is what it is. We don't know what's going to happen next year, but you could start the process, fill out the initial paperwork. That's going to take 5 months to a year maybe to get approved to show that the relationship is real in those kind of cases, either Form I-129F for the fiance visa or Form I-130 for a regular marriage case. And then once that's approved, we start the embassy process, and we'll see what the laws are at that time. That's as most that we can do. First, just one step at a time, and hopefully by that time things will get better, things will open up. There's no estimating it. But if you give up now, then you never know. You might as well just break up and not have that relationship, really. That's the only thing I can say to that. So that's the reality of immigration law right now as it is. Come to the United States in light of all the world situations. There's the coronavirus. Before that, there were several travel bans. The immigration department's gotten more strict on stuff. They constantly keep updating their material, their forms, creating different rules or making more stringent rules. For example, the public charge. All these things are there that kind of drive me crazy, but also my clients crazy. But they gotta understand that's just the nature of the beast we're dealing with right now. So when you expect that, it becomes much easier to deal with because you know what's coming. You shouldn't be surprised. You just gotta be tough and go through it. And almost all the time, it works out anyway. Sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes a little shorter. If it looks like it's not gonna work at all, from the very beginning we could catch that. And this one particular case, a gentleman just couldn't give me the documents I needed. He kept saying, this is all you need. And I said, no, it's not all I need. Your case is not gonna get approved with this. We could submit it, but most likely it's not going to be approved. I put it in writing for him too, so he doesn't come back later and say, I didn't tell him. But that's the reality. You got to get what they need. If you don't give them what they need, and from my experience, I could tell what they need because I've seen it back and forth, and I have colleagues who talk about, there's nothing you can do. You got to just give them what they want. And it's not even hard. A lot of this stuff you should have handy. You just got to work a little bit at it and not put it off. And that's one problem that happens. There's so much paperwork required, so much information, people just don't feel like doing it, and that's because a lot of extra work. You already have stress at home, stress at work, all this stuff. It's like another job doing the immigration case, working together, because there's so much information collection that has to happen. So because of that, it becomes hard on people. Even like for citizenship cases, for example. A lot of people that hire me to help them with their citizenship case, probably can do it on their own. They have a clean history. Having a consultation is good to review the case to see if any issues do exist. But if none exists, that's a straightforward thing, then we can move forward with it. But I have clients all the time tell me, listen, I've been wanting to file this for years. I'm not getting around to it. Please just do it for me, because if it's up to me, I'm just not going to do it. And I said, okay, if that's the case, I let them know. I don't want to just have people hire me for no reason. I said, listen, we could do it too. It's not too bad. But they just say, how many more years can I go without not filing this? It just becomes more expensive every year, more restrictive. Who knows what's going on in the government? Just do it because I can't do it. So it's kind of a funny thing, but that's a reality of a lot of people who have green cards and haven't filed for citizenship. They just don't get around to it until there's someone pushing them to do it. So that's an interesting thing that happens. Now we have a question from Naim Hassan. He asks, I applied for I-130 for my spouse in 2018. Is the public charge going to apply to me? Well, Naim Hassan, depends on what kind of case. If you just filed the standalone I-130 and your spouse hasn't obtained their green card yet, or you haven't filed for the green card yet, because I-130 is not the green card request itself. That's a petition to be able to submit a green card application. If you haven't submitted Form I-485 before February 24th, if your spouse is in the U.S., or if they haven't gone through the immigrant visa interview yet, the embassy interview, public charge rule, the new one, will apply to you, and you have to go through it and have the document paperwork ready, unfortunately. If you filed like 2 years ago and you still haven't moved the case forward, it's kind of surprising. I would say consult an immigration lawyer to see why it's not finished or completed yet. What's missing? Why is the case still going on for cases 2 years ago? But yeah, if you haven't submitted a Form I-5 before February 24th, or they haven't had their immigrant visa interview before February 24th, then the public charge rule will apply to them. It depends on if they go to embassy or the U.S., which kind of form they have to complete, how many questions they're going to be asked. But be prepared for that. Unfortunately, this public charge is pretty nasty. I just got finished last night doing one case as a parent of a U.S. citizen. Just so much work, so much extra paperwork, about so much background. This person was applying for the green card in the United States. I mean, it just took so much time to do it. It was such a hassle. Sony Mutat asks, USCIS asked me for RFE. It means requesting more evidence for a case, and I sent it already. How do I know if USCIS received my documents? Very rarely, if you go on to your online account, USCIS will confirm on the online uscis.gov case update that they received it. I would say 1 out of 10 times they do that. Other than that, what you're supposed to do is mail in stuff to the government with tracking, as well as having someone sign off on it when they receive it. That way there's confirmation that they at least got it in hand. But how you got confirmation for RFE? Unless they update it online, there's no other way other than just knowing that the package received by signing for it. So it's very important if you're working on your own. As my office, I always send stuff to the government with tracking. But make sure if you send on your own and you're not using an attorney, to send applications when you mail it to them, either using the post office or using FedEx or UPS or one of these private services. Make sure there's tracking and make sure that they signed for it. And that way you know that they got it. If they come back later and accuse you of not submitting an application or submitting some paperwork, at least you have something to show that, no, we have delivery to your office on this date, someone signed for it here. It's a way to challenge that. And it does happen sometimes when they get it, but they accuse you of not getting it. And I've seen it several times. It happens just generally. So that's the situation with that. Just next time, hopefully they got it, but check the USCIS.gov case tracker with your receipt number for the case that had the RFE. They may have updated there, but again, normally they don't. Naim follows up, said his case taking 2 years. It's green card holder. Green card holder cases take longer. Right now they got a little faster, but that's probably the reason. So unfortunately, very most likely the public charge will apply, but I need to see your paperwork to know for sure. Okay, so we got a lot of people. Vishal, hi to you as well. We got a big group here. Throw out your questions that you have. Please don't ask me about timelines, because I don't have any answers to timelines. Yeah, that's the situation. When you have these spousal cases and stuff, you want to just usually file it, because you're in love, you're married, you're not going anywhere. And just file it and then wait and see what happens. They change the rules midway. Main thing is to work, make money. That's a really big factor. Make sure you both have clear histories for criminal stuff and for immigration violations and stuff they told the embassy in the past. But who knows? Like one thing we see a lot in certain embassies, for example, the U.S. Embassy in Pakistan gives a high denial rate for fiancé visas, for example. So you have to be prepared for that. Some embassies are going to be more difficult. Or USCIS is somewhat more stringent and more suspicious of marriages for people that are from Nigeria. Their cases might get held up. You see this stuff over time keep popping up. that's consistently worrisome, and be mindful. So when someone from that group or from that country comes, you're ready to, okay, might be a problem, just to prepare for that. BJ249 asks, how long to get interview after getting the I-693 letter? Thanks. Okay, so the I-693 letter, what I think you mean is when you file for a green card and you didn't submit the medical checkup with the green card paperwork, they'll send you a courtesy letter that reminds you that please, if possible, please give us or bring a copy of your medical checkup with you to the adjustment of status interview. So if you got that, that's good. That means they did the initial review of your case and they probably didn't find other issues with it. But unfortunately, there's no way to tell how long it takes. It just depends on that office and how long it's taking. Now, unfortunately, if you're watching through, give me a second. Now, I have multiple systems running at the same time, and unfortunately, I forgot to recharge the Facebook phone that's doing it. So for people watching on Facebook, so I need to click the charger, but it's creating a mess. Is that being charged? Yes, Facebook is saved for friends watching over there. So yeah, if you got the I-693 courtesy letter that says bring it with you and you want to know how long it'll take, I don't know. It just depends on your local field office when they get around to your spot in the line, and that's that, as much as I can tell you. Sonny Molton asks, tell us something about I-360. I-360 is a form for certain types of cases, very different kinds of cases. I don't handle I-360 cases. That might be a VAWA case. It might be a case where someone's spouse passed away. It might be an Iraqi translator. There's like random stuff. I don't handle any of those types of cases, so I wouldn't come here and advise you or give information about that form. Hamza asks, how badly are they enacting new public charge rule? So this is a very important question. How bad is public charge going to be? We don't know. Why is that? Public charge rule came into effect on February 24th, and February 24th, soon after the coronavirus hit. So we really don't have cases that have undergone the final adjudication of the public charge rule, because it's cases that went to interview or adjustment of status was filed after February 24th or had interviews at the embassy after that date. Pretty soon after February 24th, the embassy shut down, and then USCIS shut down doing interviews. So we don't know how hard they're going to be analyzing this. The way they've written it is horrible. The way they wrote it is very scary. But in fact, how they actually do it, how strict they're going to be, we don't know how bad public charging will be yet, other than just seeing the paperwork, that the way they wrote the regulations and the policy manual from the government that breaks down how their employees are supposed to deal with it. It's nasty. But that's why you got to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Name follows up, asks, my spouse application is the NBC. I'm green card holder, so Trump order affected me. Yeah, if your spouse is overseas and they haven't got the immigrant visa interview, the public charge rule, a new version of it, will apply to you. How strict they're going to apply it or not, we don't know. But you can expect, I'd be prepared for that. So have the S-5540 ready and anything else that's needed for your specific kind of case. Raj Multani asks, is unemployment benefits affects immigration status? So this is a question we get every day, but it's a serious one with regards to all the job losses that happen. If you are lawfully working and you become unemployed, if you're a green card holder and you get unemployment benefits, as long as you don't lie for the unemployment benefits, you don't commit fraud, there shouldn't be a problem. Unemployment is not what's called a means-tested benefit. It's something you pay into, so if you get it, it's fine. If you're here on like a work visa and you get unemployment benefits, well, you might be able to get the benefit, maybe not, depending on the state you're from. But the reality is, many times work visas are reliant upon that work existing. So if all of a sudden the work stops existing, then your visa is invalid and you need to leave the United States unless there's a grace period. So I don't want to discuss what happens with people on work visas, on their temporary work visas, but if you have a green card and you get unemployment benefits lawfully, without lying on an application or something like that, then I wouldn't be worried. I'll submit that. That shouldn't affect your green card or citizenship, because things like this happen. Sunny Moltani, please stop asking the same question over again. I already answered that. Juicy asks, I'm going to adopt my nephew, and if I'm a green card holder, can I petition for him? So there's a lot going on in an adoption case that I can't talk about here. It depends on how the adoption happens, how old your nephew is, and a lot of different factors. So this is such a serious case. 100% consult with an attorney in private to review it from the very beginning, and you might have to move fast. The age limit is very important, and a lot of things you have to look at, the requirements for example, adoption in the country that they're from, what the situation is. This is a serious issue that you need to consult with a lawyer in private with and sit and talk fully to plan and strategize for it. Cashmall22 asks, when is the executive order finished? I'm assuming you're talking about the executive order that just recently happened with regards to the travel ban to the United States for many kinds for immigrant visas. They said it's going to last at least 60 days, and they're going to review whether they're extend it or not. So we don't know when it's going to finish. We know it's a minimum of 60 days, but on the out end, how long it's going to go, we don't know. It just depends on when the president and his team make that decision to really open it up again or not. So there's no answer to the question that you asked. Sunny Multani comes back and asks, cases have been transferred to new office jurisdiction. What does that mean? Sometimes you have a case with USCIS sitting in one location, and it's not being adjudicated, and then they see another location is less busy. So they're like, well, let's just transfer this case here where the people are too busy to review it. Let's take it to another location, another service center, for example, for them to handle it because they have more freed people that can handle it. So when they do a case transfer, many times that's what it means. Now it could mean other things too. Maybe went to the field office for interview. There may be like it could be other things. I need to see specifically what the receipt notice that you got says. But typically when USCIS transfers it from one service center to another, it's because they're too busy handling too many cases at one location. So they're transferring it to another location so that there they have more staff to be able to handle it and avoid more and more delays on the case. Hamza asks, can I adopt my minor biological sister since I myself was adopted? One is adoption is home rules and stuff depending on what country they're in, and secondly the immigration stuff is another thing. Definitely consult depending on if your sister's just here and you want to adopt her, to consult with the family attorney. But if they're overseas and there's an immigration component, consult with an immigration lawyer in private. Adoption is a serious matter. Charang Biguros asks, hi, I filed my I-751 in California, December 2019. Why are these days taking so long? It's not these days. These have been taking so long for a long time. December 2019 isn't too long ago for a removal of conditions I-751. I-751, for people who don't know what that is if you get married and then get a green card within 2 years, the green card you get only lasts 2 years. You have to form I-751 removal of conditions to get a full 10-year green card. And those applications take at least a year or more, a year or 2 years on average, to be adjudicated. So December 2019, right now it's May, it's only 5 or 6 months. This is just normal timeline. You just got to be patient and wait for it to be done. Maybe look into filing your citizenship if that time comes, but talk with an immigration lawyer in private for help on that. Cashmall asks, they denied my citizenship application because they said it was fraud. It's not true. I applied for my son. You think okay, so this is serious. If they accuse you of fraud, you need to immediately consult a lawyer to undo that because that can have serious consequences up to even being deported from the United States. So this is something you need to put the phone down right now, start scheduling consultation with lawyers to get different opinions based on a decision notice. It's a really serious matter. This is like life or death kind of matter for your immigration status. Really just put down a phone or put it up and start calling lawyers that could help you guide you better in private. Panther asks, please answer my questions. When can I apply for citizenship? 3 years from entering USA or 3 years from my green card? So if you're going to go the 3-year route, you have to have been married with the U.S. citizen during those 3 years after getting a green card. So once you get a green card, if you've been married to a U.S. citizen at that time, 3 years later, 2 years and 9 months really, you could potentially apply for citizenship. There's other requirements that have to be satisfied, but if you're just going for 3 years and let's say you satisfy those 3 years, but again, you have to have been married and living with the U.S. citizen. I don't know your family life situation. So in other kind of cases, then you have to wait the full 5 years. But it's based on the time. That time you count the 3 or 5 years is after the date you get the green card, the issue date on the green card, not when you enter the United States. Now, if you got a green card because you went to an embassy interview and then you flew into the United States, the day you enter the U.S. is the date that your green card starts. So those dates would be the same thing, but I would need to see what's going on with that. Singh asks, how can I terminate my asylum case? It depends on if it's in court, whether it's an affirmative asylum case for the USCIS, and you want to see if the underlying case. There's a lot of things we'd have to review to give proper advice for that. So consult with an immigration lawyer in private. Singh asks, my I-130 was approved. Awesome, congratulations. Miss asks, I've been married 3 years, have green card 2 years. When can I apply for citizenship? Well, first of all, make sure you didn't need to file for I-751 removal of conditions. But if you had the green card, been married, and living with the U.S. citizen during that time, at the 2-year, 9-month mark, you could potentially apply for citizenship, but you have to have completed the other requirements for U.S. citizenship, not that just that one requirement. So schedule a consultation, sit down with a lawyer. My email is info@jqqlaw.com. You can have a consultation to review it. It's half an hour consultation. It would probably be enough in this kind of case. There is a consultation fee, but email me if you like, and we could discuss that over email. Cashmo asks 2020, does this fraud thing affect my son's application for his interview? It can. We gotta see what the fraud is. So there's just too much information I need to know that can't be answered here. So please don't ask any more questions, because I don't really want you to put your private information out there when some serious stuff is going on. But it just depends on the case issue to know whether it's going to affect your family member or not. Sachi asks, is there any way to schedule an interview for physician, because we don't know how long it's going to last? Interview for physician, because I don't know what your question means, Sachi. I'm sorry. Singa, please answer my question. I'm in New York. Singa, you just said my case was. I did answer your question, Singa. Please consult with a lawyer in private. Juicy asks, I have my EAC and lost my job. Can I apply for unemployment? Thank you. So I think you meant EAD. An EAD is an employment authorization document. It's the work permit. If you lost your job and were validly working, you potentially, probably file for unemployment insurance in your state. But I would need to know more information. But most likely, you could do a valid case. But every state is different, so you have to look to see what the requirements are. But again, most likely you can. But I can't advise until knowing the case itself. Panther asks, when can I apply for citizenship? Arrival day, we discussed that already. Sapto Kasari asks, I applied for asylum and I got married. My husband is citizen and we applied for I-130 is approved. So you have to look to see whether you could have applied for Form I-485, adjustment of status. So consult an immigration lawyer to see the timelines of when and how you enter the United States and when you file for asylum and all these different factors to see if you could just file for a green card through marriage. If you could have, it would have been better to have filed the I-485 green card application right at the beginning with the I-130. So if you haven't already consulted a lawyer, please consult as soon as possible. There may be mistakes you made in this process that's unnecessarily going to create problems for you. Definitely consult a lawyer in private, because we got a little more information about your background to see what's going on. You're welcome, Cash Mom. Thanks for sharing it, Current. If you're viewing this on TikTok, please go to the profile, follow, and also there's a link there to my website where you can contact me if you like the jqqlaw.com/tiktok.html. You're welcome, Panther. You put out some long names here. Catskid Chen Home Style. When is the border between Canada and U.S. open back up? You could ask President Trump that. Please email whitehouse.gov. I don't know. It's not up to me when these things are open. Whenever they tell us, just keep an eye out with the government and they'll tell you when these things open up. User 123 asks, how can I apply for a student visa? Well, if you're in the United States, you apply for the school, you get your what's called the DS-20. First, you have to apply to school, get accepted, they issue some paperwork, and then you apply for the visa if you're overseas or do change of status in the United States. That's a general overview. There's a lot more details involved. We could have a consultation session where I can go in more detail with it to see how it adjusts to your personal circumstances. But that's the general thing. You apply to school, they'll guide you. Their website will even have information at the university you're going to, what the requirements are, and how to go through the student visa process. But if you'd like to go in more detail, just email my office and we can schedule a consultation to go through that. All right, Engsabuwanshu asks, also gave some information about how gays and how I invite my partner. You got to be more clear about your question. Engasbawa. Juicy, you're welcome. Katsitskin Homes. After how long of marriage can an American you get a green card? It's not based on how long you're married. So if you're married, you can file for a green card. It's not like how long you have to be married before you file for a green card. With these kind of questions, I would say consult with an immigration attorney in private to help really one-on-one guide you and go through that. Sachi asks, do we have to expedite the scheduling interview for healthcare worker? It's DQ for I-130 process. Please, I don't really, you got a lot of things going on in your question I can't fully understand. Interviews are shut down right now, so there's no way to expedite it unless it's some sort of emergency that we could prove, but that's rare. But your questions got way too many things that are unclear, so that's the kind of thing you really need to schedule a consultation in private. Now, we only have a few more minutes. If you have some last questions, let me know, or else we're going to be ending it pretty soon. I'll be back again here tomorrow. Today is what, May 14th or something like that? It's a Wednesday. Tomorrow, Thursday, we'll be back and we'll get into it. And guys comes back, says, I am gay, my partner is in Greece, like refugee, how I bring him here. Well, you could do a fiancé visa potentially with your partner, or maybe if you get married, a marriage green card case. Yeah, I'm doing a fiancé visas for same-sex couples all the time. But we need to know a lot more information about your background, your fiancé's background, to go over all this stuff. So, email my office so we can schedule a video consultation where I talk with you and your partner, your fiancé, or if you're married already, your spouse, and we could get into the details of it to see what's going on, and I could guide you from there. There's just too many things going on, but probably if you're not married, you start the fiancé visa process. Sonia asks, hi, my mom is sick and she doesn't know English. Can she get citizenship? Well, if she has a green card for enough time and satisfies the rest of the requirements, for citizenship, you have to be able to speak English to the officer. If you can't, you're going to get denied. If she's sick and if she can prove she has some sort of condition that's so severe that prevents her from learning English, and a doctor has signed off on that, maybe the English language could be waived. Or if she's had a green card for many, many years and there's a formula for that, maybe it could be waived, but it's going to be hard. You have to talk with the doctor or have a doctor write that the condition is so severe that she can't learn English, and then hope the officer at the end of the interview will accept that. Sakutasari says, we already applied for I-485, also have next. I don't know, Sapasar, I need to see what's going on in your case when you file. There's a lot of things, this kind of individual advice for your case that requires a consultation. I can see generally you're supposed to file I-485, but to tell you what's happening next in your case and the total standards, I got to know more. For example, what did you say in your asylum case? What kind of information were there? So please email my office to schedule a consultation and we can do a review and take it from there. But without that, I can't advise any more on that. There just could be too many different kinds of things. What happened with, I'll ask, what will happen with DAVA? I think you mean DACA, yeah, DACA. So we don't know, we're waiting. The DACA is called Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. They call it DACA for short. These are people who enter the United States at a young age, and they, President Obama said they could stay here and get a work permit, at least for now. The Supreme Court, we're waiting for them to give a final decision on the case to see what's going on. We haven't heard from them yet, so we don't know. But if you have DACA and it's expiring within the next 6 months, a year, you might as well apply for a new one to get some more time on it just in case. But consult a lawyer in private to see if it's appropriate for you. Yeah, we don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Hopefully, good news comes and some relief comes to these young people who kind of got stuck in this weird situation in life. So, okay, we're down to the last minute or two. I want to thank everybody for coming on, asking questions, and viewing. Please go to the YouTube page later. There's a lot more information there. Also, the Instagram page, go to JQK Law Firm. Do that search and it'll all come up and get all the information you need. My email is info@jqklaw.com and we can take it from there. I don't have information about timelines unless I really review your case and we can have a long discussion about it. But if you're interested in the timeline for citizenship, go to uscis.gov. There's a case processing time option right there. Click on the buttons and see the estimates that come for your local field office. That's the best advice I give you. But note that the processing times are not reliable. That's just a reality having done this for a while. And then the final question, Glowing Gold 29 asks, how to revoke someone's conditional green card if it is marriage fraud. I don't know. I help people get benefits. I don't help take it away. So I'm not a good resource for that. Try consulting with other people to take a benefit or a green card for somebody. It's not an area I specialize in. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining this live Q&A. We'll be back again here tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And until then, I wish you all the best. God bless and be safe. Goodbye.